here. As I told you a little while ago, we're about to do an interview with the team at Nomad Gao, or Nomad Gao, as I've been alerted to. There's a slight pronunciation change there, and probably to do with their expansion into multiple areas. I guess we're going to find out that when we talk with Shazada. Now, I'm going to get Shazada on the line shortly, so just hang on, and we'll get him dialing in from India. Here we go. Shazada, hi, how are you?
Very well. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Now, I'm standing in the rain in France at the moment, but you looking like you're nice and comfortable in the weather. Where are you today?
I'm in Goa right now.
You're in Goa. So
Yes.
warm, tropical, near the beach.
Yes. So I'm at Nomad Gao Villanova right now, which is around a kilometer away from the beach. The weather in September is really good here in Goa. So it goes around 26, 29 degrees. Most of the day it's sunny. Sometimes it rains, say 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day. Sort of, it helps the weather to cool down. So I think September, October, November is a great time to be here in Goa.
Super, super.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a little bit earlier in the northern summer, June, July, August timeframe. Tends to be a little bit warmer
A
until
little
you go
warmer
into the
there.
mountains.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now,
Thanks
now,
for having me today, Mark.
oh no, it's fantastic. No, it's great, really great to have you here because we've been following you guys for a couple of years now. Nomad Stays has been around 3.5 years, and you guys have been around something similar. Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about the background.
Yes. So Nomad Gao started in 2019, July. That's when it got incorporated, and the reason why it got started was Mayur, the founder who founded it. He felt a need to be part of a digital nomad community, and which he couldn't find in India.
Yep.
There were no rural co-working, co-living setup. So when there was a need, he said, "Why not I do it myself?" And interestingly, I was the first Indian that Nomad Gao ever hosted. So I
Really?
was a customer. I started as a customer at Nomad Gao, and fortunately, I'm a co-founder now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yes, Linda and I did something similar. When we went nomading back in 2015, we were traveling around Australia and we just found there just wasn't enough properties that were set up with the right products for digital nomads. So we did a whole lot of experiments and were the first customers of many properties that have now
Yeah,
opened themselves up to digital nomads. It's a great way to refine your product, to test your market, and to work out all of those details to make it easier for nomads to come and visit.
absolutely. I was actually going through your social media a couple of days back, and I see that you are also a motorcycle enthusiast. So
Indeed.
I think, Mark, we have a lot to talk.
We do because I've been on a great motorcycle trip through northern India, many years ago now, about 10, 11, 12 years ago, to some of the places that you guys have opened up recently. So
Yeah.
up in Dharamsala and somewhere up there in the Himalaya. You what, 4 properties today? You've
Yes,
grown into
yes.
4 properties?
Yes. So today we currently have four running properties. We have two locations in Goa. One is a co-working, co-living setup where one can just live with us and walk to the second floor and enjoy two levels of co-working, which is one is called the Zen space, which is a quiet space where you can engage yourself in some deep work. The other one is a little chill with like a terrace setup where you can look at the fields, enjoy a 500-year-old banyan tree that we have in our property, meet fellow remote workers. Right next to that, just a kilometer away, we have a place called the Secret Garden. And there's a very
Ah,
interesting reason why it's called a secret garden, because it stands in the entire chaos of Anjuna, which is a tourist area, but it's a 200-meter lane that goes inside, which is a muddy way. Once you go there, there are 6 studio villas which are designed for you to work remotely, and it opens to a beautiful garden in front. So you are geographically in the chaos where everything is in your close proximity, but still you have your own peace and peace of a lot of artists, producers, people who need their space to have that peace of mind to produce and do things. These are the people that take that space.
That's probably quite important there in Goa, because Goa is quite a busy place. Yeah, it's got lots of visitors from around India, from around the world. It's on the beach. It's got beautiful weather. It's a popular tourist place at least for Indians, and all year. So somewhere quiet to work, somewhere where you can think deep, particularly when you're like a developer or something, or you're trying to create some new invention. You need a little bit of headspace without the noise, because I guess the first time you hit India as a foreigner, you notice the noise.
Absolutely.
And something we motorcyclists know quite well, because many people don't realise that using the horn on the roads in India is an official indicator that you're about to overtake, that you're coming on the left, you're coming on the right, and so we're in the West, we're used to indicators being flashing visual indicators on our cars and our motorbikes. In India, it's on audio, so it hits you hard when you first arrive, but it doesn't take long to get used to it.
Yeah, and somebody who lands in India for the first time, I think the first 24 hours, it's a chaos. You feel like, where have I landed? Because there are cows on the street, there are hawkers on the street, and people are honking. But once you spend a couple of days, you realize that there is a system in this chaos. Everything falls in place at a certain and there's
a beautiful flow. There's a beautiful flow about India. Whether you're downtown in Delhi or Mumbai or something like that, or whether you're way up in Himalaya, where you've expanded to as well. So you've got a couple of properties that are not on the beach; they're away from the beach. Tell me about those 2 new properties.
Yeah. So the entire idea of Nomad Gao. So I'll just break Nomad Gao to you. Nomad, which everybody knows what Nomad is. Gao is a Hindi word for village. So the idea, Gao means Gao literally translates to a village. So when I say Nomad Gao, the idea is to create rural co-working, co-living places where people can be closer to nature and still find their productivity while being there. So that's the entire ethos of Nomad Gao. So building upon that ethos, we wanted to create a balance. The balance is the mountains, the beautiful Himalayas, and the beaches of the Goa. So after 2.5, 3 years expanding in Goa, we felt that there is a need for such a place in the Himalayas. 1.5 years back, we started our Dharamkot property, which is very close to Dharamshala, where His Holiness Dalai Lama stays, very close to that. And this year, we started a property in a small village called Nagar. It's a beautiful artistry village, 1 hour from a very touristy place called Manali. And then from Nagar, we are 5 kilometers away, and entire property is covered with plum and apple orchards. So we call ourselves Nomad Gao Plum Paradise, because for 6 months, all you see around is apples and plums. Snow-peaked mountains from your balcony, from the co-working space, 12 months. Amazing weather and no noise, a place where you can actually connect with other remote workers and get some deep work done.
So I've been lucky enough to both go to Dharamsala and Manali. I know both areas. And I guess if we just start with your first one in Dharamsala, as you said, it is the home of the Dalai Lama. He wasn't there the couple of days I was there. I actually did see him up in Leh, up near Manali earlier, but he wasn't round at his home when I was visiting. Shame on him. But Dharamsala is fascinating because if I'm not wrong, it's also like the capital, or it's the head of both the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church in India, also based in Dharamsala. So you've got this variety of religions with their headquarters, and it's very, very spiritual place, and it has this amazing feeling and impact on you, regardless of what spiritual model you're following. But it's a fascinating place, not just visually, but emotionally.
Absolutely. I would completely agree to you in this point. It's also a place where officially the government of Tibet runs from. So you would see this accumulation of the Tibetan culture,
Yep.
the Himachali local culture, and then there are migrants from different belief system, different religions who've moved to Dharamshala. There's a lot of Catholics, there's a lot of Muslims, there's Tibetans. And everything sort of works together.
Yeah.
And there's intense peace, and people share their culture, celebrate festivals together. I recommend everyone to be there at least for a week to sort of see that if that can happen in a small city like this, can we replicate it around the world? Absolutely, yes.
Yep. Interesting side story. There's another place in the world called Gao. It's in the top of Mali, and again up near Timbuktu, which I've been to, and one of the villages I visited up there has 3 different religions. So the village is split into 3 areas, and each year they rotate the mayor of the village between the different religions. So everybody coexists. They get to follow their own religions. They follow this same Gao feeling, the Hindi word you were describing,
Sure.
and we're talking about Africa. We're not even talking about a natural Hindu area. So. It's fascinating.
It's fascinating. Yeah, I didn't know about it.
No, it's going through some troubles at the moment, so it's not a place that anybody can visit, which is a bit of a shame. But hopefully that'll settle down in the next couple of years. But Manali was the other one that you mentioned. Now Manali is like it's the ultimate village. It's a marketplace. There's such a combination of people. It's up there in the hills. It's cool weather when it's hot downtown or down in the lower areas. The food is different.
Yeah.
The pace of life is a bit different. And surprisingly, it's really not millions and millions of people up there in the north. It's quite sparse. I remember days riding the motorbike up there. You know, we wouldn't see many people at all compared to like down in the busier sections. Yeah.
Sure. I would say that the population density has for sure changed in the last 10 years.
Yep.
I would say a lot of people from cities have also migrated to search for a quieter, more cleaner life.
Mm-hmm.
But compared to other parts of India, it's very quiet. The weather is great. The AQI levels are really good. And just to give a backstory of how India has been in the hippie trail for a long time, since the 60s, right? And what I see now happening is, so there were particular cities, so Goa, Pushkar, Hampi, Manali, Kasol, Dharamshala. There were a few cities which were in the old hippie trail. Now, interestingly, what I see emerging now is this new digital nomad, a sort of new capitalist hippies, people who are nomadic in nature, but also capitalistic, serious about their careers and want to build something of themselves.
Yep.
So this new transfer shift that I'm seeking, which consists of both the Indians, because India has a big IT population, which has the potential to work remotely, and a lot of people from Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Europe, from the Americas, who've realized that a dollar can buy a lot more in India for you. Second, I think nobody would argue with that. Hands down, Indian food is one of the best foods in the world.
Yes.
Right. And there is so much diversity in this country. As soon as you travel 100 kilometers, there is a different language. What clothes people are wearing are different. How people communicate with everything just changes. And this sense of diversity, not culturally, but also landscapes. So in India, you could find the beaches, the rainforest, the deserts, the Himalayas, everything. It has
Yep.
everything.
Yep. It really has. Now, remind me, is downtown Manali a smoke-free town? Is it the town that you're not allowed to actually smoke in, if I remember right?
Well, not in particular, but
Okay.
over the last I think 7-8 years, smoking in public generally in India is prohibited. One can smoke inside their house, or you need to find a cafe designated areas
Wow.
where you could smoke. How much of that rule is being followed, I'm not sure, but legally that's the scene. So we are 1 hour away from Manali. So
Yep.
over the weekends, people who are staying with us can take up a scooter or
Yeah.
a cab ride and reach Manali and be in part of that hustle.
Yep.
But then just come back in their Nomad Gao co-living and have that serenity and peace and walk out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is a mystic part of the world, and a lot more spiritual, deeper thinking. It's a place for contemplation.
Absolutely.
You're not finding big factories or smoking, smoke puffing out of stuff like that. You've got, the Himalaya is a huge set of mountains with very, very deep rivers and gorges, and it's mind-boggling how big the landscapes are. And it's something you really have to experience yourself, because there's only so much you can see on a television.
Absolutely.
And until you see it directly and you say, wow.
Yeah.
And like you say, you travel for an hour and you're in a completely different landscape, culture, people, and all of that.
Right. No, I mean, the moment you feel that you're too big and you're doing something, I mean, there's a saying in India: if your ego is very high, you go to the Himalayas and you'll get grounded, because the mightiness, the hugeness of the Himalayas sort of grounds you really well.
Yep. And then it's just huge. You're right. It's quite awe-inspiring, the landscapes and everything. So this is a great combination of properties in different parts of India. Are you getting people migrating from one location to another in this sort of semi-permanent nomadic lifestyle? Are you getting clients at this stage doing that?
Yes, we're doing that. So organically, we see a lot of queries within our properties where somebody's living in Goa and they want to be in Himachal, because the kind of comfort they experienced with respect to having fun with our events, being productive, and having a comfortable stay, they don't want to risk it anywhere else, and they're like, I mean, we would just go to Nomad Gao, wherever that is, and experience a different landscape. But what we are planning to do in a couple of months is to start a plan where people can spend 100 days within 2 years, where they can buy a pass, which would cost them way cheaper, and they can shuffle around properties without commitment. They could just tell us a week in advance that they're coming, and we'll be happy to host them.
So walk me through what a year's worth at Nomad Gao might look like. What time of the year do we go to which location for great weather and festivals and so on?
Yes. So September to February is a great time for Goa, because September is when the rain sort of subsides and things are still green. So the freshness of the tropical forest comes alive. The rains are not there yet. And the weather is, again, from 22 to 30 degrees till February. And from February, from March to September is a great time for the Himalayas. February and January is also a really good time to experience the Rajasthan, which is the desert. It has some intense cultural, there are great temples, there are dances, the food is amazing. We still don't have a property there yet. Absolutely, this is on our list.
Well,
Kerala and
hurry up, Shahzada, because I haven't been to Rajasthan and I've seen so many interesting people. That darker skinned people, the smaller, slighter people, the desert people with those almond eyes, and these castles that I see in books and television. I'd love to explore them.
Mark,
So get your skates on.
Mark, you come here and we'll do a trip on a Royal Enfield together.
Oh, there we go.
On Rajasthan. Let's do
Let,
that. Yeah.
let's go do the
Whenever you're
Enfield.
there,
Yep.
yes, let's do that. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So all right. So we're up to like February, March, and the deserts are magnificent,
Yeah.
and that'll be coming soon. As soon as you get that property. Now, when we start turning into April, May, June, is that the time to head up to the Himalaya?
Yes.
Right.
So March is the sweet spot where one can plan to migrate to the Himalayas because the real season starts around June, and March and April is that sweet spot where you can find the right weather,
Yep.
which is again around 25 to 30, 25 to 27 degrees. It can go till
Yep.
15, 14
Yep.
in the nighttime, but there are not a lot of people during those months. So
Yep.
you still have your own time to explore things. And then June, July is when a lot of tourists come in,
Yep.
a lot of travelers and tourists that settle in. So an interesting thing about
Yep.
Dharamshala, where our location is, it has been on the international maps for the last 30
Yep.
years because it has been an Israeli favorite village.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Shanam. There's a particular Israeli restaurant where
Really?
you can find some really good hummus and falafels and pita breads.
Ah.
Yeah, and there are a lot of workshops around spirituality and music and art and culture. So imagine an area of 5 kilometers around mixed between 6 hills with different cafes and workshops and studios. And everybody knows everybody.
Yep.
And every year there are similar people bringing different vibes and different skill sets with them. So massages, yoga
Yep.
retreats. It's an experience to itself to be there.
Yeah, and I guess if you haven't been to India, you haven't really experienced this beautiful nature where Indians are always very helpful. They're trying to help you. If you just got to put your hand up and say, listen, I need some help, and somebody will help. If they don't know themselves, they'll find somebody else. It's a very supportive culture. Yeah, so it
We
makes it easy to travel, really.
Yeah, so there are both sides of it, but in general, the Indian culture sort of has this Atiti Devo Bhava, which is a Sanskrit phrase, which literally translates to our guest is our God.
Yep.
That means that if I can make someone stay comfortable, so that would directly have a karmic effect on me, a positive karmic effect for me. So you would see that while you'll be around here in India. There are challenges. There has been scams and all of that, but I think which country doesn't have that?
Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Yep. You're exactly right. But I think what you're describing is some of this heart and soul behind Nomad Gao that makes it more than a hotel. It's a community, and it's a sharing area, and it's a place that different people are meeting, whether they're from around the world as guests or whether they're locals with something interesting to show, to sell, to educate people on. So tell me a little bit about the events that you hold in each of your properties during the weeks.
Right. So there are basically two pillars for our events.
Yep.
Number one is core fun. The other is knowledge sharing. So when I talk about fun, it's bar hopping nights. We do board games night every Thursday. So in Goa, every Thursday we do a board games night. We do a board games night in Dharamkot, and people not limited who are staying with us or doing a co-working pass with us. It's open to everyone. So there's a huge board games community in Goa, and we want it to be this inclusive, and it's free to come in and join and use the space. We wanted to build something which impacts a bigger audience and not just be limited to our own. So there's board games nights, there's karaoke's that happen, and then India is filled with festivals. So there's Ganesh Chaturthi, Diwali, Holi, whatever that festival happens, we make sure that anyone who's staying with us, they get that authentic experience of experiencing that festival from the eyes of a local. We did a Independence Day event last month on the 15th of August. We did a quiz. We had participants of 30 people who came in, and we had a blast doing that. We did a potluck, 30 people, imagine 30 dishes. My gym trainer was really mad at me after that, though, but I had a lot of fun.
Too much butter naan.
Yeah, yeah. So that, and we've recently started with doing Wim Hof ice cold baths every
Really?
Saturday. So 9 in the morning every Saturday we do that. We do waterfall explorations during monsoons. This Sunday we are going for kayaking with the entire community.
Yeah.
Our lovely community manager Alisa, who's been with us for over 2 years. She's studying law in the daytime and is an awesome community manager for us over the last 2 years. She's the one who's leading community in Goa, and she's doing a killer job. And then every Friday we do a Nomad Connect,
Yep.
where we bring someone from our community and we do like a talk that also gets recorded as a podcast, which we put on our Remote Explorers podcast. The idea is to bring this national and international knowledge,
Yep.
consolidate it, and share it out with everyone.
And I think you've actually touched on something that you may or may not realise is quite unique, and that is the international flavour of what Nomad Gao has become. You have deliberately reached out around the world to partner with all sorts of people to bring the world to India and to all your properties. So it's not just the domestic Indian business, which is a huge business. You know, you could have just stayed inside India and dealt with all of the Indian people visiting their own country. But no, you've actually extended it out and have melded together the business aspects for anybody growing a business or growing their career with the experience of India in different locations. So I think it's really well thought out.
Yeah,
you know.
but just a small comment on that is that when we started in 2019, the remote work digital nomadism concept was an international concept.
Yes.
Remote work wasn't a mainstream thing before the COVID. So we wanted to be a place when we started an international consolidation of digital nomads from all over the world. That's how we started with a very humble start with 5 rooms and a co-working space of 16 people, which Mayur and Mayur's wife started with exceeding their credit cards, taking loans and starting that small place, a big risk. So when we started, we had 95% people international and 5% domestic.
Wow, 95% international from day one. That's an amazing thing. Yeah.
Yes. So that's how it started. So when the pandemic hit, we had to pivot, and we quickly pivoted to save our business and to address to a larger audience that opened up, which was the Indian audience. So what was happening during that time? The narrative about remote work, it was in a negative limelight that, oh my God, I have to do remote work. I have to work remotely. I and Mayur, and to remind you that at that time I was not part of Nomad Gao. I was ex-customer, right? When the pandemic happened. So Mayur calls me one day and is like, hey, this is a great opportunity for us to talk about our experiences, bring in remote work in a positive limelight and put it out in the world. So that's when Remote Explorers podcast originated, which was during the pandemic. And we started inviting people from all over the world to talk about how beautiful remote work is and how it can enable you to have freedom and do more than identify, to create your identity which is other than your work, and still being able to be productive and do great in your work. So that's how it all started, which led to us addressing both the markets. So currently we address 50%, averaging 50% is Indians and 50% is international market.
Okay. So it's actually really good for the foreigners to be able to meet locals in almost a business environment. It's not just for fun. It's not just like a bar where there's a casual engagement. You've got events and you've got curation that brings people together. These quiz nights are obviously testing people with different backgrounds and their knowledge bases, and the games and so forth. So it's a great way to immerse yourself in some culture when you've got a.
Absolutely.
I haven't been to India really encourage you to get out there and explore it. Obviously, Nomad Gao has got a lot of head start to a lot of what they've been doing. They've got the hard yards from pre-COVID to post, and the dealing with long-term international travellers, people like myself and Linda, who've travelled most of the world over many years, to the people just starting out. I'm super pleased to have you join us. I'm super pleased that we have this partnership with Nomad Stays, where you can, nomads can travel not just in India, but another 74 countries around the world, and find similar mindsets and similar suppliers. Just to remind people that we are an instant booking location. Oh, sorry. Linda's just asking me to highlight the motorcycle there, so that
Yeah.
you can. It's ready. It's ready to go.
Let's ship it down to Rajasthan and let's do that trip.
I'd love to.
But yeah, Mark.
Love to.
First of all, really appreciate your words about what you just said about Nomad Gao, and such conversations remind me and Mayur and the entire team that the journey that we've been on over the last 4 years, we are on the right path, and what we are doing is actually creating some impact and creating value in the world. But with that, I also want to congratulate you guys, because you have a very similar story where you are co-travelers from your heart. You are nomadic at heart, and you're creating a product which you needed in your life, right? And it's the initial struggles I can imagine of starting the business that you would have done, and how wonderfully it's doing right now, that you have your arms and legs in all over the world in different continents. So congratulations for that, and Nomad Gao's super happy and super excited to take this partnership further.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can develop together, even more over the coming years. More events, more deeper experiences. I've got some great ideas already, and India as a nation is certainly coming out of its shell. So if you guys haven't been to India, don't wait another year. You've got to get in there really quickly. And you've got friends there on the ground ready to help you with everything needed in the digital nomad lifestyle. We're going to, Shazada, we're going to wrap up there. Any last minute comments that you want to tell us that we haven't been able to talk about yet?
Yes. So there are a couple of things I want to talk quickly. We'll wrap it up. Number one is you can find us on Nomad Stays. Search Nomad Gao Goa, or search Nomad Gao Dharamkot, Nomad Gao Plum Paradise Nagar. You can find us, book us there. If you have any queries before you book, feel free to reach out to Mark. He'll connect you with me. Our phone numbers and emails will also be there. That also, I would say that anyone who's joining this Instagram, we would be happy to have a special code for you guys for 5%, extra 5% off of if you book with us. Mark and I will discuss that, create a code and put that as a post for you all. Second thing, that what is happening in India right now is incredible, because India is taking, in the geopolitical way, we have advanced. Our internet is one of the best in the world since the last 10 years. It's the cheapest high-speed Wi-Fi in the world right now. The transport is very reliable. The flights are super cheap. Any thing you need about India, if you're coming to Nomad Gao, great. If you're planning to go somewhere else, feel free to reach out to me or message us on Instagram. We'll be more than happy to help you out and facilitate your digital nomadism here in India.
That's amazing offer, Shazada. Thank you so much for extending that to our community. Yeah, we are instant booking. So if you want to get something locked in, just hurry, because obviously, as much as you're growing quickly, your rooms are going to fill up with such a good product on the marketplace and great pricing. So head over to Nomad Stays to find out more, book yourself in, and get ready for the cultural experience of a lifetime.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Shazada. Thanks everybody for joining in and listening and to a fascinating discovery today. We look forward to bringing you more interesting insights into what Nomad Gao has been up to soon. And we will see you at Nomad Stays. Bye for now.